Record on. Okay, I'm gonna put the record on. We're gonna start. I'm gonna put people in, okay?
All right, cool.
Admit all.
Probably the biggest Zoom meeting in history.
All right, hold on. Yeah. Okay, thank you for joining tonight. People now joining, therefore just give us a few more minutes and then we're gonna start. Okay, just a moment. All right, hold on. Okay. All right, good. So, okay, all right. Thank you very much. 7 o'clock. Okay, thank you very much for every. Let's start. All right. Admit. Okay. Okay, so far. All right, once again, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And my name is Steve Nomura. I'm an organizer for this Zoom webinar tonight. Right now, I'm going to give some housekeeping issues. I'm going to tell some housekeeping issues first, and then we're going to start meeting. Okay. Right now, oh my goodness. Okay. Right now, everybody is muted. Okay, everybody's muted. So it's going to be very difficult. People join. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So tonight we're gonna deal with a very special topic, especially these days, very hot topic. We're gonna talk about how we can access the money. Okay, the government is trying to give us, especially for if you look at these, okay, unemployment ratio is late. It's gonna be crazy. Even 2007, 8, 9. After 2008, Lehman shock. After Lehman shock, official unemployment rate was 14%, means including an official rate, maybe 20%. That was the highest time. But these days, even in the third week of March, 3.3 million people filed claim the unemployment money, right? And the fourth week, 6.6 million people. Altogether, last 2 weeks of March, 10 million people lost job. And then I don't see that exact number in April. It's going to be increasing a lot. And some people predicting, and in the end of April, it's going to be almost 20% unemployment rate. Therefore, okay, I feel very pain in my heart. Many people losing job. Okay? Also, if you are doing some small business, okay, many people who is doing some business also get some damage from these situations, right? I'm a real estate investor. Okay? I'm buying, selling all the time. Also, because I'm collecting lots of rent, but fortunately, I have 50 tenants. Fortunately, over 30 cash tenants pay on time in April, but some people stop paying. if this situation continues, okay, a landlord like me gonna be also start suffering a lot. Anyway, okay, tonight we have to see how, maybe most of you already know the names of the new acts or the name of the programs, but if you read more detail, it's gonna be more complicated. Okay, but I just checked that some website, amazingly, okay. All right, Bank of America submitted 10,000 loan applications in the first hour last week. This is, I think, last week. Which day was? Also, Small Business Association reported Tuesday, and this week, Tuesday, 275,000 Paycheck Protection Program, PPP application has been received. They received 275,000 applications received. Okay, and yeah, we're going to talk about those programs. Unemployment benefits. Of course, we know stimulus check. Many people are asking when we're going to receive stimulus check. We didn't receive it. I didn't receive it. If you already receive it, just let me know. Also, EIDL, okay, economic injury disaster loans. Okay, also PPP, Paycheck Protection Plan. Also, Emergency Paid Sick Leave or Family Medical Leave Act. There are lots of new acts, and then, but some employee, or self-employed, we have to find out how, which kind of money we can access right now. Of course, after you get to know this kind of information, you have to act quickly. Time is money, okay? Of course, there's some money available right now, but the first come, first served. If money is gone, it's end of this program. We are expecting another big bailout, but we don't know. Therefore, sooner is better, okay? Sooner is better, okay? So I'm gonna share my screen a little bit, just a moment. Welcome, Team Massive Action. Massive Action is the name of our team, a community, and we are an investment business in Chicago. And tonight, COVID-19 financial rescue package explained and plus Q&A. Okay, and I'm not the speaker tonight. I'm going to introduce speaker after this. Okay, just a moment. People try to join in. Okay. All right, good. Coming in. All right, good. So this is me. If you look at the screen, wow, I have long hair. Right? I didn't go to almost. I'm self. How to say? Content for almost 1 month. Okay, 3 weeks ago, Wednesday, I went out once. But other than that, I'm staying at home, and then I meet only my family members. That's why I couldn't go to the barber shop yet. Therefore, my hair is a little bit longer. But originally, I'm from Japan, and I came to the United States in 2000. And then my background, I studied lots of things. I was in the college for 14 years, and then my background is educations. And I started this real estate investment business 2007, actually February 2007. I started with small wholesale deals, fixing, flipping, rehabbing. I started holding my rental properties. Since then, I purchased more than 190 properties by myself, mostly single-family homes. And then I sold, I flipped. I did over 40 wholesales. I flipped over 100 deals, fixing, flipping, rehabbing. Also, I own 50 rental properties right now. By now, I'm focusing on self-financing subject to lease option deals. Then basically, I am keeping those properties as rental properties. Also, I'm selling my rental property as turnkey rentals, at least one a month. Okay? still in this market, I can sell. Maybe not to the loan buyers. I'm selling my properties to cash buyers, okay, investors. All right, this is my self-introductions, okay, and then massive action, this is our team name, okay. We started this team last year, July 1st. I'm gonna introduce our activities in the end of this presentation, but if you're interested in university investment business, just let us know, okay. Then this is the official slide for our tonight's presentation. Tonight's presenter is Jeff Badu. Okay, he's the CPA. And then he is an investor too. He has been investing in multi-family. He told me his asset value is more than $1 million. Then he's CPA. He's dealing with the mostly his client are small business owners and real estate professionals. And then tonight I invited many people, but mostly I think I send email mostly to real estate professionals, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and some small business owners. So, then without further ado, I'm gonna introduce Jeff. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Okay. Right now, everybody's muted, okay? I believe you have lots of questions. Therefore, during the presentation, he's gonna stop presentation, then allow you to ask questions. Also, meanwhile, you can write questions, okay? Write questions in the chat sections, and then I'm reading, and when he stops giving presentations, I'm gonna tell questions to Jeff, and Jeff gonna give an answer. Also, tonight we are expecting 1 hour 15 minutes all together. After he finished the presentation, we have enough Q&A sessions. All right. Therefore, please don't interrupt his presentation. Okay, we're gonna give you some time to ask questions. Therefore, at this moment, just keep yourself unmuted. Then when you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask questions. After you finish, you can mute it once again. Also, when you ask questions, please make it short, and then please don't talk any long your personal stories, okay? To respect other people's time. All right, good. Jeff, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready, Steve.
All right, let's change it, okay? Take over.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, good.
Let's see. All right, so here we go. All right, so thank you, first of all, Steve, for inviting me to this. It's definitely greatly appreciated to be a part of, to be able to educate people, especially people that I can relate to, such as real estate investors, real estate agents. Before I speak, just really quick, I know we have a lot of people on Zoom, so it tends to have some connection issues, when there's a lot of people. So if I cut out or anything like that, I didn't leave, I will be back. So yeah, if there's any technical issues or anything like that, please let me know. You can feel free to ask me any questions throughout the presentation at any time. This is more of a discussion, because right now is a time where we all need to stick together and we all really need to find the resources. And today my job is to provide you with those resources, essentially different ways that you can earn money during a time like this, and also tying it back to how you can advance your real estate business. So with that being said, let me go to the next slide here. So yeah, we'll just a quick agenda. I'll give an introduction of who I am, what it is that I do. We'll talk about the CARES Act that came out. Also, part of the CARES Act, we'll go through all the different things that came out of it: unemployment, stimulus, retirement, student loans, business relief. And then throughout, you can ask me any questions, but we will leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end for Q&A. One thing about me is I don't like to have long presentations, especially on a Saturday night. So I'll try to keep it short to the point, but please feel free to ask me any questions throughout. So who am I? My name is Jeff Badu. I'm a licensed certified public accountant. I graduated from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in accounting. Started my career at PricewaterhouseCoopers, or PwC, which is one of the top 4 accounting firms in the world today. Decided to leave that firm though in 2016. September 2016, I decided right after Labor Day, when they forced me to work, to turn in my 2-week notice and unleash my freedom as an entrepreneur, and activate a business plan that I was working on for 6 years before that, since 2010. But basically, I'm a parallel entrepreneur, meaning I can run multiple businesses simultaneously. And I'm also a wealth multiplier. And one thing you won't see on this slide is my purpose in life, which is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. So that is one of the reasons why I'm here today, is even in a time like this, we can still create abundance in our lives by taking advantage of resources that are available to us by our very own government. I'm the founder and CEO of Badu Enterprises, LLC, which is a multinational conglomerate in the finance industry. We own and operate about 11 different companies, including my marquee company, which is Badu Tax Services, which is a tax firm that specializes in tax preparation, planning, and representation for individuals and businesses across all 50 states in the U.S. And we also have clients in about 10 different countries at the moment. On top of that, how I got acclimated with Steve is I'm the CEO of Badu Investments, LLC, which is primarily a real estate investment company. We buy and hold multifamilies on the south side of Chicago. Give you an example, today we were looking at a 10-unit potential acquisition in Auburn, Gresham. Just basically to hold it and then to rent it out to tenants in order to create stability and all that good stuff. We buy and hold multifamily rentals, mainly in Chicago, but we also do Gary, Indiana. I'm originally from Ghana, so I have investments out there as well. So we're looking to really expand globally, but starting locally with Chicago and also Indiana. Very passionate when it comes to financial literacy. I do about 100 workshops such as this to different groups of individuals and business owners. Just love talking about finances, money. My foundation, the Badu Foundation, is actually launching in June. And then on top of that, I'm also a member of Renata's. Love the group, love being able to teach. I help instruct the tax and legal. So part of this today is really giving you guys some insight when it comes to finances. All right, so now let's get into the presentation. Now remember, you guys can ask me any question at any time. As Steve mentioned, you can either put in the chat box or you can just unmute yourself and flat out ask the question. I will be leaving some lagging period where you can just ask directly. But the CARES Act was passed on Friday, March 27th, 2020. It is a $2 trillion emergency relief package. Basically, it's meant to provide money, like actual physical money, to individuals and businesses. I believe it was mainly created for businesses because we are the ones that hire people. So ultimately, this is more for people like us, business owners, people who, have the freedom to run a business. Now, it is highly likely that more money will be coming soon. It is extremely likely. As a matter of fact, the president just announced that more money will more than likely be coming. So this $2 trillion is it's not a small number by a long shot, but I think we have a long ways to go. I personally think this virus thing will probably come to an end or slow down by the summertime, but at the same time, nobody knows. So what we do know is what's available right now. And after this presentation, you will know every single thing that you can take advantage of as part of this CARES Act. Now let's talk about the first thing. First one is unemployment. So typically somebody can file for unemployment and then they can basically get their benefits, right? However, with this special unemployment program as part of the CARES Act, there's an additional, so whatever you would receive in unemployment, there's an additional $600 weekly benefit through July 31st of 2020. So let's say you would be to receive $1,000 per week. Well, now you have an extra $600, right? And then let's say the states run out of money, like Illinois is probably going to do. There's an additional 13 weeks of federally funded unemployment benefits, meaning the federal government will step in for the states because unemployment is usually filed through the states. but additional 13 weeks of federally funded unemployment benefits through the end of 2020. So that's pretty massive, meaning it keeps, you can basically claim unemployment. I mean, hopefully, you know, we're able to be stabilized, we're able to find employment and feed our families. But if you're in a position where you can't find stable income, you could look at unemployment. Now, another thing is that unemployment benefits through 2020 for many people who would not otherwise qualify. So this is a big part of the CARES Act because they truly, quote unquote, care about everybody. And that even if you did not traditionally qualify, usually somebody who files for unemployment is an employee who's a W-2 employee and then basically works for a company, or you work for yourself. Maybe you run an S corporation or corporation. So typically you file for unemployment. But with this CARES Act, it actually includes independent contractors, meaning folks who drive for Uber, rideshare, real estate agents, real estate investors, part-time workers as well. So that was typically not the case. Now, one thing to note, though, states like Illinois have not fully developed a system for filing for unemployment for these folks, meaning they don't have the option right now for an independent contractor to go in there and actually file for unemployment. Other states like New York also experience the same thing. When they'll figure that out, I don't know, to be honest. So this is more right now for, you know, somebody who's lost their job or even somebody who owns their own company and puts themselves on payroll. So for my clients, what I'm telling them is, hey, if you're an S Corp and you've lost your job, you're running payroll. Typically with S Corps, you have to run reasonable compensation, basically putting yourself on payroll. So if you're in that position and basically you lost a lot of contracts or a lot of work, then you could go ahead and file for unemployment by quote unquote temporarily laying off yourself and going into the system and filing for unemployment and getting that additional $600. So what can you do with this money? I mean, hey, let's say you don't need it for whatever reason. Well, this can money used for your real estate investment, right? This could be money used for down payment, perhaps. This could be money used to fund a mortgage, maybe because your tenants aren't paying you right now. You know, so I think this is a great opportunity to capitalize on something that's available by the government. Unemployment isn't really the most looked upon thing in the world. However, when they're giving you an extra $600 a week, you know, that's a pretty massive amount. So that's the thing. That's a summary with the CARES Act when it comes to unemployment. Steve, do we have any questions or anything so far?
So far, I don't see, but can you clarify this independent contractor? I mean, they have to have a 1099?
Yeah, essentially a 1099 individual. So somebody like a rideshare, like an Uber or Lyft driver, or somebody who's employed by a real estate brokerage, like a real estate agent, and they're receiving a 1099, or if you have a business like an LLC or corporation. But independent contractor means like a 1099. You don't have to have like an actual registered business.
Okay, there's a question. Okay, Los, maybe you can speak. You can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Steve and Jeff, for this presentation. So I was talking to somebody about this unemployment because the stimulus package, like you said, is not available for independent contractors right now. But when it does become available, I didn't know like if this was true, but it like as far as like taxing wise, if we do get an unemployment as a self-employed, as a 1099, how does that affect our taxes for next year? Are we going to have to pay that money back that we received?
That's a great question. So yes, in theory, yes, unemployment is taxable. However, as part of the Relief Act, so this isn't a part of the CARES Act, but as part of the overall Relief Act, they are looking to, if you can demonstrate that you've been negatively impacted by COVID-19 from a business standpoint, you can get a credit against any sort of like self-employment tax or anything like that. So they haven't made it clear. So to answer your question, it's not fully clear, but I can imagine that since so many people are filing for unemployment and the government is getting very, very lenient, you know, people, they're getting very soft when it comes to certain rules. I mean, they might not tax this type of unemployment, I would say.
Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dondre, do you have a question? Dondre?
Yeah, I have
Hey.
a question. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Hey.
just let's go with the Dondre first.
No, I just asked my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Eugene.
Bruce, do you have a question? Bruce Banner.
Read the question.
Bruce, can you apply if you have a W-2 and an S corp?
I mean, yeah, to answer that question, yes. As long as you have income, especially a W-2 income, and then if you have an S corp, that even makes your case even better. So yeah, as long as you have some type of income, according to the law or according to the rules, you can apply for unemployment.
Okay. All right.
I think Eugene had a question too, by the way.
Eugene, go ahead. Eugene, go ahead.
Yes. So, a quick question. Hypothetically, let's say I was working a job or possibly maybe an internship, and I left my internship and I filed for unemployment. So, would that come out of the state's fund, or will that go back onto that previous employer?
So when you file for unemployment, the money comes directly from the state. It comes from the unemployment insurance. It's an insurance policy that the company has. So the company itself is not going to pay directly out of pocket. However, the rates might go up though. So when you file for unemployment, it's kind of looked down upon in a way because you're basically affecting the company's unemployment insurance rate. So your insurance rates usually go up, especially if you're a company like Yelp that just laid off, 30% of their staff, pretty much. I mean, their unemployment insurance is probably going to go through the roof because of that. I've had clients reach out to me like, man, I just got laid off. But yeah, to answer your question, it does negatively impact the company itself. However, it's the state that pays. And if the state can't pay, the federal promise, quote unquote, saying that they'll step in and pay for the state.
Okay, thank you.
Another question, Luz, okay. He's asking, how can I apply for unemployment?
That's a great question. I mean, usually you go to the Illinois Department of Employment Security, so IDES, and basically you submit an application. It's pretty easy, depending on your state. So if you're in another state, just go to your state's employment website. You can apply. It's a pretty simple application. They might ask you a few questions here and there. But yeah, I mean, I think now if you've lost a job or if your money is falling short, I think this is an excellent opportunity to take advantage of essentially free money. Whether it's tax free or not can't really be told right now, but hey, it's an extra $600 plus what you would have received had you filed for unemployment originally.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's hold other questions for a moment. Okay, Jeff, let's continue.
All right. Thanks, Steve. All right. So stimulus checks. This is another thing that a lot of us have been waiting for. So the unemployment, I'm starting off with the individuals first, and then I'll get to the businesses. Unemployment is mainly for the individuals themselves. Now, the stimulus is also for individuals. There is a stimulus check of $1,200. If you're filing a single, and then up to $2,400 if you're married, if you're filing a joint return, plus $500.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, just a moment. Okay.
Yeah, no problem, Steve. I'm good.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the stimulus check is $1,200 per person. I mean, basically, if you're filing single, $2,400 if you're married filing jointly, plus an extra $500 for each qualifying child under the age of 17. So for example, if you're a family of 4 and you're filing joint and you have 2 kids in the family under 17, your total stimulus check would be $3,400. So $500 per child and then $2,400 per family or per couple. So one stipulation, here's where a lot of clients are reaching out to me. I got a client who hasn't filed tax return in about 7 years. They contacted me, hey, I heard about this stimulus check. It's free money from the government. So you must, and I repeat, you must have at least a 2018 tax return on file in order to get this stimulus check. Now, what I tell my clients, hey, if you're going to have 2018 on file, you might as well have 2019 as well. you know. So just to give you guys some insight on how our marketing strategies work, this is a great marketing tool for us because now it's like you have to file if you want your check. 2019 return is used for the calculation if it is on file. The checks are phased out for those with adjusted gross income or AGI exceeding $75,000. And then it's $150,000 if it's a married filing joint return, $112,500 for those filing head of household. So you can be fully phased out, right, from this check. You must have at least a 2018 return. In order to get the check, it is automatic. So meaning as long as you have a 2018 return on file, right, the government will issue you the money, right, as long as you fall within that threshold. So it's about 75,000, and it goes all the way up. You know, it has full phase out limit. But essentially, what I'm telling people to do is, hey, if you're gonna get a stimulus check and you didn't need it in the first place, it's free money. The government is sending it to you. You don't have to pay any taxes on it or anything. It's already money you pay taxes on because they're using taxpayer money to send it right back to you. But you can use this to grow your real estate business. Perhaps, maybe, you know, they have down payment. They have loans like FHA loans, which I know aren't super popular in a time like this. But you can get an FHA loan. Let's say you're getting a $3,400 stimulus check. Maybe that's an opportunity to boost the down payment a little bit. You can use this money to pay off high interest rate credit cards. You know, there's so many things you can do to use with this money, but of course it's meant for those who need financial support. And I bet there's a big question, when am I going to get my check? The answer is nobody knows. However, the IRS has promised that they will start issuing them starting next week. So remember, they'll start issuing them next week, but you might not actually get it until 2 to 4 weeks after that. And if you have direct deposit on either 2018 or 2019 tax return, they will use that information to process direct deposit for refund. However, if your bank has changed, you need to notify the IRS ASAP, meaning you have to go on the IRS website. They have a COVID-19 page, and they'll come out with a site where you can enter your direct deposit information. Because I know people switch banks sometimes, especially in a time like this. You know, your account might be overdrafted or something like that. So this is a time for you to update your information in the IRS. If they don't have your direct deposit, they'll mail you a check to the address on your most recent tax return. So if you've moved, this is probably a good time to tell the IRS. You know, so yeah, we'll probably pause a little bit for some questions.
When do we expect the money come?
I mean, so it'll be issued next week, starting next week at least. So if you have a 2018 or 2019 return that's been filed, you should your check should be issued next week, but you won't be getting it until 2 to 4 weeks after that. Mm-hmm. If you have not filed your tax return, you will not get the check.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
We have some questions.
Okay, I'll read it for my father. Is the stimulus limit based on gross income or AGI?
It is on AGI, adjusted gross income. So income minus adjustments.
All right, and the other question was, is the stimulus check just one check?
I mean, to directly answer the question, yes, it is one check per family, essentially.
Yes. Would it be worth withdrawing funds from 401k since there's no 10% penalty to pay off bills?
So we'll talk about that. But usually I'll give my 2 cents. I usually don't like to cheat myself in retirement. So if I'm just going to use money to pay off bills, that's kind of cheating myself. I'm cheating my retirement. I'm cheating my future. So for me, I would probably rather take advantage of a stimulus check, unemployment, before I even think about touching 401k, because the values of 401k are down right now. So you should never touch an asset that's been depleted, you know, an asset that's dropped in value. So even though they're dropping us 10%, and we'll get to that in a second too, I don't think it's a good idea for people to be pulling their 401ks right now. I think this is a trap for you to actually get into financial distress.
Yeah. Yep. The recent was what if 2016 to 2018 is filed, but 2019 was not filed? Still get the stimulus check?
Yeah, as long as your 2018 is filed, you'll get the check.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Who is this? Can you tell your name first? Can you say your name first? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So there's on the IRS
What's your name?
website. This is Lupe Rodriguez. On the IRS website, there's a
Yeah. I think
hold on,
it's
sorry.
getting muted. Yeah, it's getting muted and unmuted for some reason.
There's a non-filers button for it, but it didn't.
Yep.
I mean, I filed it and I got approved. They sent me an email that I got approved, but it did not say. I mean, it said if you did not do the 2018 or 2019, just put 0. I mean,
Yeah, that's a great point. Honestly, I don't know why the IRS did that. I think it's going to confuse the world, because the problem is that's going to cause a delay. If the IRS, so here's the thing, the non-filer one is if you were not required to file a tax return. So if you received income in 2018 or 2019, you must file a regular income tax return. A non-filer is somebody who maybe did not work at all during the year, and basically they're looking for the stimulus check. So a non-filer is somebody who is not required to file a tax return. But if the IRS goes in the system, and remember, before you get a document from somebody, the IRS already has it. So if you have 1099, W-2s, and you have not filed, well, they're going to put a pause on that non-filing, and they're going to say, okay, well, why isn't a tax return on file? So my advice to everybody on this call is please get your tax returns filed if you know you're supposed to file. But if you don't have to file, if you're a non-filer, you're a true non-filer, then yeah, you can go ahead and go to that site, apply, and then you'll pretty much get approved.
One more question.
Oh, I can do 2 quick ones.
Okay.
The recent was can you PPP/unemployment? Can you file only one? I think that's can you file both PPP and an unemployment benefit?
Yeah, we can talk later.
Yeah. Great question. You can file for all of these things we're talking about all at once, right? Every single program we're talking about today. However, with the unemployment and the PPP, it gets tricky, because the PPP, you can still get it. However, in order for it to get forgiven, you must pay payroll, or you must keep yourself on payroll.
Let's talk this on when we talk about PPP. Okay, one more.
All right, sounds good. Should we go to the next slide, Steve, or one more question?
Yeah, let's go next.
All right, cool. Appreciate it, Steve. All right, so let's talk about retirement. Yeah, so somebody brought up the question about retirement. We got a lot of questions, a lot of people. I'm glad we're having a great conversation today. Hopefully this is useful. If you do need the slides, I'll leave my contact information, so then I'll be able to send it to you afterwards. I know it's a lot. But with retirement, here's a few things that happen. Required minimum distributions, or RMDs, from employer-sponsored retirement plans such as 401ks and IRAs, so they included IRAs in this, will not apply for the 2020 calendar year. So back at the beginning of this year, there was an act called the Secure Act that was passed that extended required minimum distribution, the age, from 70 and a half to 72, essentially. So now RMDs do not even apply anymore for 2020, because the government's idea is like, okay, well, if these people need money to fund their healthcare and all that, well, why not let it be the first place be their retirement accounts? So basically, if you had a traditional IRA or 401k, you have to take the money out. The government forces you to take the money out because they don't want you to continue to get that tax benefit for the rest of your life. So that's the logic behind that one. Also, the 10%, somebody brought up the question. This is where your real estate investments can go to the next level. And that 10% early distribution penalty tax that would normally apply to distributions made prior to the age of 59 and 59 and a half or so is waived for retirement plan distributions of up to $100,000. So let me summarize that. If you take out up to $100,000 in your retirement account, let's say it's a traditional IRA or even a Roth IRA, you don't pay any penalties on that. So what does this mean? Hey, this might be a great time to set up a self-directed IRA account to use this as money to fund your real estate. Or maybe you're looking at a 10 unit, in Woodlawn or Auburn Gresham. This might be the time to use that money, right? That's in your 401k, to use as a down payment. However, here's my advice. 401k values have gone down tremendously because the stock market was down. I know it went up last week, right? It went up tremendously last week. I mean, I personally sold a lot of stocks last week. But so the market has recovered a little bit. However, we're still pretty down for the year. So my advice is if you can find another means to use, I mean, you got to be very strategic. If you're using this for investment and the decline in value is less than the benefit you would receive from using it as a down payment on your real estate, then hey, by all means, go ahead, fund your real estate, make that money. Real estate has a lot of benefits when it comes to it. So you can use this money as down payment. However, if you're using this money to make ends meet, then look at unemployment first, then look at the stimulus check, look at PPP, look at EIDO, which we'll talk about in a second. So you have to be very strategic. If you have an advisor, this is the time to talk to them and really get their opinion. We do some financial coaching on our side. So clients come to us all the time with questions like this. So that's my caution when it comes to that. It's nice that they're waiving the 10%, but at the same time, you want to be very smart when it comes to money. There are limits on loans, or limits on loans from employer-sponsored retirement plans are expanded. So it used to be up to 50% of the balance you can take out as a loan, but they have expanded that. They're very flexible now when it comes to that. So Steve, we got any questions on this one?
Yep. The first question, do you still have to pay tax on the distribution if you are under 59, even though you don't have to pay the 10% yearly early distribution penalty tax?
That's a great question. I knew somebody would ask that. If it's a traditional IRA, yes, you must pay the tax. So since the traditional IRA or 401k, you got a tax benefit for that, right? You wrote it off on your tax return, or it reduced your taxable income. You must pay the tax. However, the 10% penalty will no longer apply. But if you have a Roth IRA that has grown in value, then this is a great time to execute that Roth IRA and use it for your, basically use it to fund your real estate.
Okay, the other one, does a SEP IRA qualify for the 10% early distribution waiver?
Yes, all IRAs apply or qualify for the 10% early distribution waiver.
Mm-hmm. And this is about the unemployment. Can stay-home moms apply for federal unemployment?
I mean, if you have income, if you can demonstrate you have income, then yes. If you don't, then no. Unemployment, believe it or not, are for those who have like income. It doesn't have to be stable income. It used to be the case where you had to be stable income, but now you have to have some type of income that you can demonstrate and prove to the government.
Mm-hmm.
I remember someone said that if your husband and wife are both a manager of the company, then you're gonna fire your wife and get.
I don't like to get into politics, but that could be a good idea.
I don't know. All right,
just one quick one. Will a person with disability receive a stimulus?
Yes. So somebody brought up the question about, or it brought up the point. I think Luke brought up the point where he used the non-filer. So that would be a great candidate to use a non-filer, somebody who's maybe collecting disability, doesn't file a tax return. You go on the IRS website, you type in COVID-19 payment relief or anything like that. And then you use a non-filer, link, then you would be able to apply and you'll be able to qualify for that.
When I did at the end, when it does show who can file for non-filers, it does state on there that people with disabilities or anybody receiving SSI will automatically receive it without doing a non-filer.
Yeah, so that's a part of it too. I mean, me personally, I would do it just to be safe, knowing the government. But that is correct. If you collect SSI or if you collect disability and that's your only income source, then yes, technically you can get it automatically. However, it would be in the form of a check, or however way your Social Security was paying you through. So if you wanted this money through direct deposit or something, I would still do it anyway, just to be safe. I mean, just knowing the government.
All right, let's move on.
All right, thanks, Steve. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about student loans. This one is pretty easy, although it's big because Americans really, the next big recession was predicted to be caused by student loans. So the government is very, very fearful when it comes to this one. So one of the first things they did, they said 6-month automatic payment suspension for any student loan held by the federal government. Right? Just real simple. 6-month automatic payment suspension. So you do not have to pay your student loans if it's a federal government loan for up to 6 months. And then they're very flexible. The private loans, they're also pretty flexible, offering 0% interest, forbearance and things of that nature. But from a government standpoint, it's very, very clear cut. 6-month automatic payment extension or suspension when it comes to the student loans. Any questions on this one, Steve?
Just one, hold on. For the student loan, no. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, cool. All right, so the next few slides we'll be talking about business relief, which a lot of us, really. So I started with the individuals first, and now we're really going to get deep into the businesses, and we are running pretty good on time here too. So I'll take about 5 to 10 minutes on this one. But business relief, basically, they're payroll tax credits for retaining employees. So if you've had somebody who's been sick or who's who can't work, who's unable to work, or you're self-employed and you're not able to work, then you can get a payroll tax credit against any sort of payroll taxes, basically. If you're self-employed, you get a break on your self-employment tax when you file your 2020 tax return in 2021. Now, they are allowing you to apply some of these credits for your payroll for 2020 as well. So if you're running W-2 payroll for your employees or for yourself, then you could let your payroll provider know, and they can basically reduce the amount of payroll taxes you're paying because you're entitled to a payroll tax credit. SBA loans, we'll talk about it on the next slides, but we have the EIDL and also the PPP, the infamous PPP, which the whole world is talking about right now. But on top of that, you have net operating loss rules that have been expanded. They're more flexible. Our president, as we know, took advantage of net operating loss in the past, but now you can basically go back in the past and claim a tax refund. Let's say you had a loss of $100,000 in 2019. You can use that to apply to 2018, 2017, possibly 2016, 2015, 2014, claim a tax refund on the spot. Actually, you can only go back so far in time. So right now we're on about 2016. So you can go back to about 2016, claim a tax refund, and use that money, actual cash in your pocket to do whatever it is you need to do. This is a big one for cost segregation. In our firm, we do a lot of cost seg. Cost seg is a strategy where you accelerate your depreciation on your real estate, your rental property. So basically, you can use cost segregation to accelerate your depreciation, use any excess losses to go back in time and claim a tax refund all the way back until about 2016 or so. So this can really, really come in handy. If you don't have a good cost seg person, or if you don't know what cost seg is, let's chat about this afterwards. This is something we love. Our real estate agents can benefit tremendously from this one, The ability to get a bigger refund for 2019, and then also go back in time to 2018, 2017, and 2016 to get a tax refund. So cost seg has come big time in handy. And now let's talk about the EIDL, and then we'll wrap it up with PPP, and then we'll set it off for Q&A. So EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan Emergency Advance, EIDL, can provide you up to about $10,000 of a loan advance to a business. One special treatment of this loan, which is not typical, is that independent contractors, I really applaud the government for looking out for business owners, really this time. Because in the past, independent contractors, self-employed, we're getting killed, right? We needed a business, we needed employees and all that, but now we can actually apply for these loans. So independent contractors, as long as you have a Schedule C, right, and self-employed individuals can qualify. And then businesses with less than 500 employees can also qualify. Nonprofits, they're really looking out. I do applaud the government for really looking out for business owners on this. One caveat, though, this is where I come in handy, is you must have tax returns. So you must demonstrate at least right now, I believe they've even expanded it to 2019 tax returns now in order to qualify for these loans. And you also need to have financials. I believe they have talked about making it more lenient to where you can use 2018, but I think I know with PVP you have to have 2019, but with this one, they still haven't. They're always up in the air when it comes to this loan. And Steve and I had a conversation earlier today, and that they haven't. I haven't seen anybody who's actually received this $10,000 yet. You know, it's like, how are you supposed to pay your employees right now? But you must have tax returns, you must have financials, balance sheet, profit and loss or income statement, schedule of liabilities, you know, and you can apply for this through the SBA.gov website, which I heard from the last time I checked, it's been crashed for a long time. It is a great idea to apply. I would recommend you use a specialist. We do have an SBA specialist on our team that's helping out our clients with these applications. Please don't go it alone, because even if you make the silliest mistake, you have to go back to the end of the line and then wait a long period, right? So you do it right the first time, get it done, get your loan, pay your employees, pay yourself. This is a great loan to take advantage of when it comes to the disaster relief. Now, the last one today is PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. It's a loan mainly to cover payroll or to cover your, your living needs and all that good stuff. One thing too, I applaud the government once again. Independent contractors and self-employed individuals can qualify as long as you have a Schedule C, or any type of schedule that demonstrates you had income. Businesses with less than 500 employees also qualify. One thing I love about this loan, and even if you don't need this loan, I think you should still take advantage of it. Loan payments can be deferred for 6 months, and no collateral personal guarantee is actually required, unlike a lot of other loans. The interest rate is a mere 1% with a 2-year term, and the loan can be fully forgiven if the funds are used for payroll, interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. And usually, how you apply to this, you go to Chase.com or your bank basically, or you can use private lenders. For me, I use a company also called Lendio. Lendio is very, very good when it comes to like looking out for small businesses, Cabbage. So if you don't have a bank for whatever reason, I do recommend you get a bank. But if you don't have one, maybe you're a cash only business, which is going to be hard to get a loan at this time. You can use a private lender or private institution. So now so this is formally Q&A, but let me leave my contact information on the slide just so you guys can take it. Appreciate you guys for joining and tuning in. Hope you guys gained some insight. But now I know we'll get into some very, very intense Q&A.
All right, great. Okay. So let's take the question from the chat section first.
First one, can buy and hold investors apply for either of the loans?
It's tough. Yes, you can, but I would recommend, I advise it for those who have a business, like an actual LLC, INC. It'll be much easier for you to get that loan because you have a business that you can basically provide proof and all that. But if you have like a Schedule E and you've been doing stuff under your personal name, you can still qualify, but it will be more tough because then they'll just ask you a million questions. And I challenge you in general, when I do my tax and legal, I'm like, hey, if you're doing real estate, you should be doing it under an LLC anyway. So now you guys see why it's so critical to have an LLC or an INC. And usually in real estate, we use LLCs for the property itself. So to answer the question, yes, rental property holders, because I know some people are late on rent. And by the way, like whatever I'm telling you today, tell your tenants too, because these are the people that are paying you as well, right? So guess what? The one bill that's always on their mind is going to be rent. The one bill that a tenant is always fearing is, how can I get my rent paid? Because how can I put my roof over my head? So educate this is the time to be educating your tenants. Send them these programs, send them about the stimulus checks, send them my contact information if they haven't filed a tax return, so you guys can, so it's all a mutual beneficial relationship. We got to be in this together. We got to work on this together, so that's my advice when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. And is there a deadline for this application?
There's no technical deadline, but it's first come, first served. In America, one thing I like about America is those who hustle, those who get to it first, are the ones that are going to get it. But there's no technical deadline yet.
Mm-hmm. And if you applied and have not heard back from them, should you reapply, or can you reapply?
you should not reapply. You should call them or reach out to them. Whoever helped you with the application, just check in. You know, reapplying would only delay the process even more.
I was talking to somebody today. The SBA website says that if you don't get any notice, like a 4 or 5 days, 3-4 days, you should apply. That is their suggestion.
I mean, honestly, I think that's an excuse on their part just to like be lazy and just to delay people. Because if I'm a business owner, I'm so busy, you know, getting business, helping my employees, my clients. I don't have the time to be going back in the application and applying again, you know. So, in my opinion, I think just some out, and I know it's hard to get a hold of the SBA right now, but they do have SBA offices or direct contacts, people you can reach out to just to get yourself in more. So if I would say reapply as a last resort, you know, if you have the time and energy. But I personally think it's better to follow up as opposed to reapplying.
All right, next.
One says, do you know of any banks that will take an application for the PPP from the independent contractor that does not have a business account with them?
The answer is no to that question. No, I am not aware of any banks that would take it, but you should try Lendio, Lendio. Lendio is really, really good. They're very, very good. They don't require you to have an account or anything like that. You know, I found Lendio through Nav, a site called nav.com. That's where I check my business credit profile. So, you know, Lendio is really good. They're very, very business or small business independent contractor friendly. So if you cannot find a bank for whatever reason, or you don't have a bank, then you can try a site like Lendio.
Okay, great. Can I apply for PPP even if I don't have rent, and use the money I get and acquire a building that necessitates rent payments? At what time do I have to have this rent due?
Man, I love that question. I'm like, man, why couldn't the world think of that? You know, it's like, yes, as long as you're using the money to cover rent, any form of rent, right? Whether it's or mortgage interest, things of that nature, then why not take advantage of the loan? If you're a landlord that's maybe struggling because your tenants aren't paying, or even if you're a new landlord, you're getting into the real estate business and you're afraid you can demonstrate, or you know, you're afraid that your tenants won't be paying you, well, this is a great time to apply for one of these loans. Now, in order to get the loan, though, you must demonstrate history. You must demonstrate you had income on your 2019 tax return, either through you know, sending them your payroll record. So if you have traditional payroll like W-2, you have to send them the payroll report. They'll use the average of the 12 months or so times 2.5. If you have a Schedule C, then they'll use that as well. So if you're a brand new landlord who just got into real estate, you don't own a property currently, then PPP is not the best. But if you're an existing landlord and you're looking to acquire properties, this is a great time to take advantage because, you know, this loan could be forgiven. Worst case, it's a 1% interest rate loan for 2 years. You know, I mean, where else can you find lending that lenient?
That's right.
Okay, great. And then can an independent contractor with only a 1099 claim a tax loss?
Yes. I mean, that's my best way of answering that question. Yes, you can claim a loss as a 1099 contractor as long as you can file the tax return and, you know, put that on your Schedule C. And, you know, you basically put in your income and then you're putting in your expenses. And that in itself could qualify you for the PPP. I think that's probably where the question was getting to.
The one, can a landlord who manages their own property apply for the EIDL? I own and manage the property in my own name.
To my understanding, since they're allowing independent contractors and self-employed folks to do it, yes, I would consult with a loan professional first. I know for PPP you could get it, but for the EIDL, I mean, that one, I would say I'm leaning more towards yes, but at the same time, I would say talk to a loan consultant first before you apply.
Mm-hmm. The recent one, should I apply leave for long before unemployment?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I think it's saying should he apply for the unemployment before he leaves the unemployed?
Man, I love this group, Steve. I think you got a very great group of people who are very strategic. They'll be very, very successful. And they're coming out with the greatest strategies on the planet. Yes, I think you should file for unemployment first and then apply for your PPP, because then you get the unemployment benefit. You lay yourself off, collect the money, apply for PPP, and basically use some of that money towards your future payroll. You know, so as long as you can demonstrate future payroll, then maybe you collect an unemployment maybe for 3 months, you know, $600 extra a week. I mean, I don't know anybody who would turn that money down. And then maybe at a later time, you apply for the, or not apply, you apply for the PPP right after unemployment, but you use the PPP money after your unemployment has run out, essentially. Remember, you can also use it for mortgage interest, rent, utilities. I mean, I think everybody on this call right now, if you qualify for PPP, you should be applying. You should go to your bank like website right now, or you should go to a site like Lendio and apply like right now, because it's first come, first serve as well.
Next question is, what if we get a check from our real estate deal while we are taking unemployment?
I mean, that one is one of those where you have to play. I mean, you know, life is a system. Life is a game. So as long as you can play the system the right way, and as long as you can play the game the right way, because the thing is, if you're collecting money after the unemployment, technically, not that you're employed, but you're just maybe you're receiving a source of income. So to answer the question directly, yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe that check, maybe you weren't even aware that check was about to come in. You know, so overall, my advice, if you can get unemployment right now, go ahead and apply for it. Right? If another check comes in the mail, then hey, that's cherry on top of that.
Okay. All right. I think we led most of. If we didn't read your questions, you can unmute yourself and ask questions directly. If you have any questions.
There's 2 more questions.
Oh, 2 more questions. Okay, go ahead.
So in my case, I am a single member LLC. Is there any way I can become eligible for PPP?
Yes, you are fully eligible based off the rules of PPP right now.
Yeah, and this is for you probably. Will you share this meeting so that they can listen to it again?
Will you share this meeting with us?
Okay, I do have a question on that single member LLC. So, but I have no history of like employees or anything like that. This year I was planning on paying myself, but so how would I be eligible if I can't show that I paid myself or paid employees?
Yeah, so it's available for independent contractors, meaning you don't have to be running payroll. As long as you can show a Schedule C, they will use their necessary formula. You know, they'll look at rent, utilities, and all that good stuff, or anything that they define as eligible. They're still not fully clear on that, by the way. But essentially, you don't have to have W-2 employees. You don't have to have yourself on payroll. You just need to demonstrate you have a Schedule C for 2019, and then you just go from there.
Thanks.
Yeah, I have a question. My name is Nestor Angel. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This has to do with the prior subject. My family is five of us. My wife is unemployed now. I'm working from home. And I have 3 daughters. My oldest one is 20 years old and she's going to the U of I. Now she's at home. My question is, would she be receiving any checks or any grants, anything at all because of her age? She didn't file 2018 or 2019 tax returns.
Yeah, so my question is she claimed as a dependent on your tax return?
She was, but I couldn't. Yes, she was. She was an independent. Yes, but
for 2019.
I believe so, but she said that my CPA told me that it doesn't count for anything. But
yeah, so that is true. If a dependent is over, it's really messed up, and I think they need to correct the rule with this. But if a dependent is over the age of 17, then there's no money for that dependent, unfortunately.
Very good. Now, can I ask you a question about the PPP? To get a loan, you go, let's say you go to LendView, and do I ask them I need a PP loan, and they know what's going
Yeah,
on?
they'll know. Every bank on the planet right now that's in the U.S. knows what PPP stands for. It's
Okay,
stuck in their brain.
but you go there to, you have to go to the bank to apply for the loan. It's not like my CPA told me that she applied for me. So that's why I was kind of questioning. I thought it was that part of the program when you file an employment, you apply for PPP. She charged me some money too. But anyway,
she's probably using the bank's website or some like Lendio, for example.
Got it.
They charge you. Exactly.
Steve, thank
now
you very much.
Understand the game. Yeah. No
Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much for the answers. Thank you.
No problem.
If you go Chase, if you go your bank account to Chase, you can see, some application web link.
Yeah, it's right online. And Chase is a very great bank when it comes to that.
Right.
Thank you.
Hey Jeff, if we didn't file for 2019, would they be able to check on 2018 for the Schedule C?
No. So the direct answer to that is no. Unfortunately, not. With PPP, they're very strict. At least based off the application that I've seen, is they must use 2019 information. So if you want to get PPP, you need a 2019 tax return.
How about for idle?
I'm sorry, what was that?
For idle, for the emergency, for the idle.
That one, yeah, they're not too clear on that. But the last time I checked, they were accepted in 2018. So that one you can try. I believe they'll accept 2018. However, they'll still need your 2019 year-to-date balance sheet as well as profit and loss.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff, if you have a mortgage with a bank but you don't do any other banking, you can apply to them, correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Would it be a better idea to do so? In other words, go to somebody you have a relationship with? I
think so. I mean, they'll push you through. Relationships are everything when it comes to that. So, because right now there's a huge backlog of applications. There's only been 1% of business owners in the entire country who've had an application that's basically been sent through to the government, right? 1%. And I know for a fact there's way more than 1% of business owners that need this loan right now. So yeah, the more the good, the better the relationship, they might just slip your application directly through the SBA contact.
Okay, thank you.
Now, one more time, can you mention the name of the bank that you recommended?
Lendio.
Can you spell one more time?
Lendio. So Lendio, Lendio.
All right.
They're very good. They're very, very good when it comes to that.
And one person asked, will it require any down payment for any of these loans?
Oh no, yeah, this is not one of those. Nah, easy application. I mean, yeah, the Chase one, it takes 5 minutes to do the PPP. No down payment, no collateral, no personal guarantee, at least for the PPP. I mean, overall, I think the general theme is, you guys, whatever you're doing tonight, if you got some time tonight, spend the next hour, unemployment, stimulus, making sure you're good with that, PPP, EIDL, it would take you no more than an hour. I mean, depending on how much you got to do, probably take you an hour or two or so to get through all of these things, or make sure you do it on Monday.
Question. As far as on the unemployment side, well, in this case for Illinois, what section do you click for the COVID-19 unemployment?
I don't think there's a special, as long as you apply, they automatically apply the additional $600 benefit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, they don't have an official portal yet for self-employed/independent contractors.
Because I've done it and it just comes out at zero, obviously. Like as far as the
are you self-employed?
I am.
Independent contractor?
Self-employed.
Got it. Yeah, so they haven't come out with that. I mean, to be honest, this whole thing is really messed up because people need money and the money is available. They've got to figure out how to connect the dots. So unfortunately, Illinois and other states have not connected that dot yet when it comes to unemployment outside of, you know, your traditional W-2 employee.
All right.
I'm sorry. Hey Jeff, thanks for coming out. I got a question. If you set up your S corporation, okay, well I got an S corporation and I got an LLC that I created last year in June. So like 6 months out the year. But I'm currently working. I'm currently working a W-2 job as a truck driver. What can I apply for, if anything?
I mean, you can still get PPP if you can demonstrate your S corp. I mean, yeah, to my knowledge, you can still.
And I didn't make any money last year on either entity.
Got it. Okay. Did you have any expenses?
Yes, a lot of expenses.
Got it. Okay. I mean, as long as you have a tax return filed for 2019 and you can demonstrate that, hey, you know, this money will be used for rent, mortgage interest, possibly payroll. So maybe now's the time to get yourself on payroll. You know, if you could demonstrate those things, then I don't see, there's no, like, to my knowledge, there's no age requirement as far as how long the business has been in business, essentially. I know for EIDL and traditional SBA loans, it's about 2 years in business. However, to my knowledge, from what I've heard from the SBA, is that they're waiving all of those requirements right now.
Jeff, just one more question here. So we just went through this whole presentation, and I need a solid takeaway for what we as independent contractors can do right now, because the Illinois portal is not ready for us. So are we doing the government sites? Is that the point?
Yeah, so right now, at least, you know, the stimulus check, that one is going to come if you qualify. So that one is basically automatic. It's free money. And then also, I would recommend that you look into the EIDL and the PPP for now.
Question about the PPP. So they said with the PPP, the only thing that could be unforgivable is the payroll part. So everything else, the loan will have to be paid back. Is it 0% interest? I don't know. I might have missed that part.
Yeah. So I'll go back to the slide really quick. So this is on the SBA site, by the way. They specifically stated loan will be forgiven if the funds are used for payroll costs, interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. To my knowledge, at least 75% of the money has to be used for payroll. As long as that's the case, then the loan will be forgiven. Worst case scenario, it's a 1% interest rate loan, right, with a 2-year term. I mean, worst case, it doesn't get forgiven. Worst case, you can't use it for payroll. Worst case, you can't find anything to do, with the money. It's 1% interest, which is, I mean, that's even lower than inflation, with a 2-year term, and the loan payments can be deferred up to 6 months.
All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Cara, do you have any questions, Cara?
No, that was just because it was very frustrating. I listened to one of these yesterday, and so much of it did not apply to me as an independent contractor because of this whole thing with the Illinois portal. So I wanted to have a takeaway tonight of what we can do.
Yeah. At least you can start with the PPP. Yeah.
And the EIDL.
Yeah. EIDL. Jeff, can I confirm one more time? If you don't have any legal entity, still you're suggesting people to apply EIDL? Jeff?
He's frozen.
Okay. All right. Jason. Hold on. Okay, all right. Jeff, are you on? Oh.
Hey, sorry about that, Steve, but yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Many people are independent contractor here tonight. Okay, they're asking what should do next. Okay, of course, PPP is one of them. Still, even they don't have any legal entity, you would suggest them to go to EIDL too?
Yes, I would say since folks qualify, you know, according to the language, independent contractors and self-employed individuals do in fact qualify. I think that we should all be taking advantage of EIDL and PPP.
Okay, all right, good.
Jeff, if I would like to figure a way to schedule with you a one-on-one, maybe at your office or whatever you can. What's the best way to do that? Email or phone?
Yeah, so if you visit my website, BaduTaxServices.com, there's a link on there to schedule an appointment directly. You can always, you know, you can email me too. So email is my primary form of communication. So the email is jb@BaduTaxServices.com. But the website, BaduTaxServices.com, has a link on there where you can actually schedule. We do free consultations, at least for 30 minutes or so.
Thank you.
One more question. Yeah.
Can it be for the question about PPP, can it be partially forgiven for the portion that is 75% payroll plus 25% of the rest?
Oh, frozen again. All right. Just a moment.
Yeah, I think the Zoom is.
Okay, Jeff, are you back?
Yeah, Zoom. You know, Zoom. When there's a lot of people on here, it can get crazy.
All right. The question is, can it be partially forgiven for a portion that is 75% payroll plus 25% of the rent?
For the PPP.
PPP.
Yes. Yeah, there is partial forgiveness that's possible.
All right. Okay, good. All right. Okay, we spent 1 hour 50 minutes together. I'm gonna show last slides with you, and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Should I go ahead and stop sharing, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I hope you can see. You know, if you have more questions, just contact with Jeff. Okay. And then this is our schedule. Anyway, you know, many things are something we cannot control, right? Even we are concerned about too much about coronavirus issues, but something we cannot do. But at least we can protect ourselves, right? Then this is something we can do. But also, we cannot be so much pessimistic, so much concerned about situations. We have to focus. We have to be more positive. We have to focus something we can do. That's why this kind of this Zoom webinar is so important. You can get more information, find out how you can get some money, right? Also, this is a time you can increase your value. You just study more about starting business, home-based business. In our case, real estate business. Therefore, if you are interested in, you know, starting like real estate investment business, okay, I know most of people are in the real estate professional. But if you are interested in doing more investment side of business, I'm doing real estate investment from my home. Okay, I'm buying, selling from my home. I'm calling owners. I'm calling the buyers. I'm calling lenders from my home. Okay, this could be home-based business. Therefore, next Tuesday night, I did 3 times in the last 2 weeks, but I'm gonna do one more time. Okay, now is the best time to get involved in real estate investment business. I'm gonna explain how I have been doing this business for the last 13 years. I'm gonna show you what kind of strategies I used, when, in what situations. Okay, this is how I made tons of asset, huge amount of asset. And then after that, Wednesday night, we're gonna introduce more basics or overview of real estate investment business. Therefore, just in the case, I'm gonna send you this information by email to all participants tonight. If you're interested, just respond to me. I was talking with Jeff before this Zoom webinar start, maybe 1 week from now, about next, I'm gonna discuss the time with Jeff, but maybe, you know, we're gonna have more update information about this. Okay. The programs. Therefore, maybe, how about Jeff? We're gonna do it another session next Saturday again.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
All right, perfect.
I'm down for that.
Let's set up at 7 o'clock next week. If you have more questions, come with the questions. Okay. If you have if you already received money by then, just give us the all right. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. Everyone, thank you very much for participating for 1 hour 50 minutes together with us. All right. Thank you. This is the end of the session tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, Jeff. Thank you, Steve.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll email you soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.